He checks the bag Nolan left with him to see what he's been given. Inside, he finds some food rations and money, which means he doesn't need to worry about starving for the time being. Takumi checks his status screen and sees that Nolan really went all out, granting him an impressive array of useful skills. Among them, he notices elemental magic, so he decides to test it out. Holding out his hand, he calls out "Water Ball," and instantly, a sphere of water forms in his palm. The other elements work just as seamlessly, and Takumi is able to use them effortlessly on his first attempt. With his newfound magic abilities figured out, he begins to consider his next steps and decides to make his way to the nearest village. While walking, Takumi comes across a stick in the middle of the path. It looks like a really nice stick, so he uses his appraisal skill to scan it and finds out that this is Trent wood. It's gotten from a wood monster and is really useful for making things like magic staves and spears. Takumi decides to put his modeling skill to the test and uses it on the wood to create a spear. Since the wood works so well, Takumi decides to scan around to see if there are any other useful plants nearby. He finds a ton of them, so he spends the next hour picking them. However, he doesn't know what to do with all these plants since they definitely won't fit in his bag. He might have to leave them behind. But then Takumi remembers that he has an item box skill, so he uses it to store all the plants. Suddenly, Takumi hears a scream nearby. Moments later, a little girl bursts out of the bushes and runs straight to him, pleading for help because a monster is chasing her. When Takumi turns to see the creature, he's faced with a massive, horned rabbit. The rabbit charges at him with incredible speed, nearly impaling him, but at the last moment, Takumi panics and accidentally stabs the rabbit in the head, killing it instantly. He's stunned that a beginner like him managed to defeat such a creature, and assumes it must be thanks to Lady Nolan's blessing. In reality, the goddess had nothing to do with it. It was pure dumb luck. After his fight, Takumi is granted the job title of warrior, much to his dismay, as he had hoped to avoid combat entirely. However, he sets that aside for now and checks to see if the little girl is unharmed. She introduces herself as Molly and assures him she's fine, explaining that she was out gathering herbs but wandered too far from Board Village and ended up getting attacked. When Molly mentions a village, Takumi gets excited and asks if he can go there. Molly agrees to guide him, but first points out that the rabbit's meat is delicious and asks if he's planning to take it with him. Realizing it would be a waste to leave it behind, Takumi stuffs the rabbit into his item box. Only then does it hit him that he just revealed his item box skill in front of Molly, even though he intended to keep it a secret. Resigned to his slip-up, Takumi follows Molly as they begin their journey to the village. At the same time, the other